Why the fuck does it feel so hard to stay disciplined? About 53 days ago, I decided that I need to lock in and get out of the spiral of wheel spinning that I was in. I thought it'd be relatively easy given the fact that, my job as a coach, like I'm experienced at training, but it's been so much harder than I actually expected. Like I'm genetically prone to self-sabotage, negative self-talk, and above all else, like an actual genuine deep down fear of getting it wrong and failing again and again and letting myself down and not be able to trust my own words. So do you know how I've actually changed it? I've just decided to rewind my brain completely. Like, that's how I'm staying disciplined. Like, when you change the way that you think about discipline, it becomes so much easier to stomach. Like, it isn't about being 100% perfect and training when you're ill, like ice baths and that fucking never miss a Monday. Like, I thought of discipline in the social media sense. Like, now I think of it as nothing more than doing what I said I was going to do, but doing it just for me. Like, I feel genuinely happier, less anxious, because I don't think of discipline as something that I have to do no matter what, or I failed. It's just something that I get to choose to do. With the couch cast, that's what we call it. That sounds dodgy, doesn't it? With a black leather settee, you know what I'm talking about as well. I wanted to do it in a much more relaxed way, not do like loads of preparation. It might be because I'm deep down an extremely lazy man, but I'm essentially going to interview myself and talk about discipline and what it actually means and how my perception of it has shifted over the years. So I'm going to literally interview myself. I'm going to ask myself the questions, basically, when have I struggled with discipline? What did that actually look like? How did I improve it? And what did I actually do to improve it? And have I got any triggers that I can sort of see coming where my discipline tends to fall off? And then finally, what should you do if you want to improve it? I've not looked at that, no notes, literally the questions there. Again, maybe because I'm a little bit lazy and I don't quite enjoy doing like research and that. So when have I struggled with discipline? It's a complicated one with me. I found I have periods where I can be on it, and then periods where I am off it, and I've really struggled. A lot of it comes when there's a lot of external stress in my life, things that I can't quite control, where I do tend to get quite laser focused on the things that could possibly go wrong and the things that are going wrong and I find that sort of has a little bit of effect on the rest of the way that I am with my approach to myself. I'm still the same with other people, but when that discipline starts to slip and I start to miss training sessions and I start to just be a bit horrible with my nutrition and just go back to eating like a glutton basically, and like that's when I really like struggle with it the most. That sort of looks like just an absolute like abject hate towards any form of plan for my nutrition. Like it's not disordered eating in the sense that I'm extremely attached to and I place a lot of emotional weight on these things. It's just that I just think, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go and eat absolutely whatever, I'll do what I want. And I've got a lot better of a handle on that as I've got older, but when I was sort of like 19, 20, I used to deal with stress by just scranning and just eating. Because I just think, right, well, I can control that. I can control that I enjoy eating this food. Therefore, it's that thing of like searching for the dopamine of being like, right, this is what I'm gonna do. And then that sort of becomes it becomes that cycle, doesn't it, where I'd consume that and I'd miss my training sessions and it just repeat. And then I'd say to myself, right, Monday will roll around, Sunday would roll around, tomorrow, that's it, double training days, 1,600 calories, I'm gonna get this weight shifted as quick as I can. I'd do that until Tuesday, Wednesday, and I just fall straight back into the same habits. And it got to the point where like I sort of struggling to trust my own word. Again, that sounds dramatic, doesn't it? But like, if I would say to myself, I'm going to do this tomorrow, or I'm going to do this later on, I'm going to train after work, or I'm going to get up early and go to the gym. And I just never would. And when you start to sort of go into that, you do sort of go into that rut of like, what's wrong with me? Why? And then you sort of get like, I personally would get like jealous of other people, and I'd be like, why are they doing that, but I can't do that? And it just creates this bitter feeling towards other people that haven't done anything wrong, they're just living their lives. But I'd almost get like a little bit obsessed with like social media, refreshing Instagram, like, why does he look like that? Why is his physique like that? Why are his abs like that? Why can he run faster than me? And I'm becoming like a bit of a victim and just like having that negative mindset of like, it's everyone else's fault but mine. And I have slowly started to change that as I've got older, a little bit more experience with life in general, and sort of understanding the way that my brain operates now. For me to sort of operate on a daily basis, I need to have some degree of training. because I don't know what it is, whether it's a character flaw, defect, or something to do with the way that my actual brain's wired up. But when I do some form of training, I feel a lot calmer. I can get a lot more of my work done, and I just feel like I've almost got more energy for training than not. And for me, like making the switch recently to basically seeing discipline as doing what I said that I'd do. Nothing extreme, no like you say, double training days with 1,600 calories, trying to get things done as quick as possible. Just sort of switching my mindset to being somewhere like, I actually enjoy doing this and I'm getting to do this for me. It's not a case of, I have to do this. It's a case that I want to do this because it makes me feel better. And I think a lot of that came from basically deciding that what I want to do is get better at running and strength training at the same time. And because of that, everything sort of like switched, it almost like clicked in my head where I was like, oh, hang on, I don't like bodybuilding. I don't like trying to get bigger for the sake of it. And I always thought like, why have I got no consistency with it? Why am I not good at this? And when you actually think about it, if you're trying to do something constantly that you don't really enjoy, you've got no drive for, is it any wonder that I hated it? Is it any wonder that I was falling off constantly and driving past Little Bakery and doing a U-turn into the thingy and going like, right, let's have it, let's see what I can get, because that's what I can control, and I could control that. I can control the food that I was eating. So right, that's how I sort of dealt with it in like a weird way. And again, it's not like a disordered eating, or maybe to an extent like it's on the lower end of what it actually is, but I don't quite tie a lot of emotion to the way that I look, or like the maybe not the way that I look, but the food that I was consuming. I didn't really see like I didn't feel emotional about it in a weird way. It's just something that I did because like, well, it's more of a fuck it attitude and I'll just start on Monday anyway, so who's asked? So that's what it sort of looked like, and sort of when I've struggled with it, like especially when I was younger and sort of like trying to find out who and whereabouts I actually fit in the grand scheme of life. And I feel much more confident in who I am, what I want. And then obviously I know it seems a bit like self-help and a bit, that way over, but yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable in who I am as a person. Like, so the next question I sort of wrote down is, when did you improve it, and what did I actually do to improve it? So I think I probably really started to see like a really strong correlation with improving my discipline when I just started to understand like why the reason that I was training. When I started to understand the reason why I was training, things became a lot clearer and fit into place. So I sort of touched on it just before when I was saying that I thought that the path that you have to take as a man, as a bloke, as a lad, is eventually you'll reach a point where you stop playing sport, stop playing football. You then go into the gym in order to train to get bigger, because bigger is better. Therefore, the bigger you get, the more masculine you feel almost. The more you tie your sense of self-worth to how big your muscles are and how strong you are. And when I sort of started to flip that in my head, I'm only talking like 3 years ago maybe, and it's been up and down over the past few years, but 3 years ago I made the decision and it sort of clicked in my head that like, right, I don't really enjoy that. And when I started to sort of switch my mindset completely from a sort of a place of I have to do this in order to get big to appease what I think other people should think of me, I was like, oh, I don't need to do that, because I can just not and just do what I actually enjoy in my own head, which is going to make me feel better. So the main things I did to improve it was I actually stopped training for about 3 months. I just completely took off training because I thought, I'm sick of it. I don't want anything to do with it anymore. This is around about 4 years ago, we'll say. I took about 3 months of training and just thought, no, I'm done with it. There's no connection to it. I'm not really massively bothered. And it took one of my mates like basically booking a half marathon. And it was like, well, I can't remember fully, but either he booked me on a place for it or he just said, do you want to do it? And I thought, yeah, go on then. Let's give it a go. I've never really had that much experience with running, so let's go straight for it. Went straight into that and I started to enjoy it, and I thought, right, why is it that I'm enjoying this? And I realised it was because I was training for a purpose, to complete a half marathon, which I'd never done before. The longest I probably ran was maybe a 5k. And through doing that, that's when my discipline started to improve, because I had a goal that I was training for that was actually linked to something that I wanted to do. Not a case of, I'm doing this because that's what I think that other people think that I should do. And it was more that, like being like, right, I want to do this because I want to be faster. I want to turn up on race day, complete the event, and go, right, I'm buzzing that I've done that. So that's what I sort of did to improve it, was sort of like have a good, like, strong word for myself and go like, why is it that why do you actually want to train? And sort of, it's not like a case of like at the surface level answer of, I want to lose a bit of weight, or I want to get shredded, or, do you know what I mean? That sort of thing, or like I want to get fitter. Like, ask yourself the reason, like, why do you actually want that? Like, deep down, what is the actual reason that you actually want it? And a lot of the time it comes back to, like childhood, it comes back to like the emotional drivers. Like, it could even be to, I don't know, like prove your dad wrong because he said you were shit at football, and you want to now prove yourself that I'm good at sport. That's not my dad was sick, to be fair. But like that sort of thing, like when you become aware of it, the reason that why you want to do something, things become a lot easier because your mindset sort of shifts towards like, oh, okay, I get to do this because this is what I want to do, not I have to do that because that's what society says that I need to do in order to be who I am and fit in. This has got to be like emotional on it, really. But the third part of this question is like, do you have any triggers that tend to hold you back nowadays? So in terms of that, for me, 110%, it's when stress occurs. When stress occurs, everything just, like, I really, really struggle with dealing with that. And typically that tends to occur when I get some form of an injury. When I get some form of injury and I can't adhere to the plan that I have created in my own head for the situation, I really struggle with that. And I think it's because I use exercise as that way to stay disciplined. When it's not there, I'm like, right, what do I do now? And then like, I see myself slipping into those old habits of like my screen time on Instagram goes through the roof. I'm constantly comparing myself to other people. I adopt that victim mentality back again, like, oh, why always me? Why is this happening to me? It's all my fault. But in reality, I'm the only one with the ability to deal with that and to get myself out of that situation. So when it comes to things like that, like when you're injured, like how do I sort of get around it now? So say, for example, if I was to pick up an injury, bearing in mind my goal is the ultra marathon in July, how am I actually going to deal with that? So for me, that's sort of what that's going to look like. I've got like a bit of an injury protocol, in place where I can essentially, say if it's ankle injury, I roll my ankle again, I've already got something planned in where I can switch to training on the bike. I already know I've planned for that eventuality if something were to happen. So that's one thing that I can sort of do. And the second thing is just being open and being honest and speaking to your mum, dad, brother, sister, missus, uncle, whoever it is, or your mate, or just someone that understands you as a person, and just saying like, I'm having a bit of a bad one here. And I think that the vast majority of all problems that we create for ourselves and the perception we have of the situation could be solved by just speaking to someone. It could be a coach, it could be like whatever, like someone that has some sort of form of skin in the game of seeing you be happy. With that, like, it's fucking iPad's gone off. There we go. I'll cut that bit out. But yeah, and just like that's how I'm dealing with it. Just being open, being honest, and like even like speaking to the camera, which really still does feel extremely weird, just sitting there on my couch with my blanket and the dog, just chatting to a camera. But I think that it's something that's helped me massively, is just being open and honest and speaking to my mates about it and just being like, I'm having a bad one, me. Like, yeah, that's one of the things that's how I'm sort of like dealing with it, especially say those triggers do occur. But yeah, injuries is a big one for me. Typically when I get that some form of injury, mate, in the past I've literally like, when I rolled my ankle before the last marathon, that was I think I rolled it in July and the marathon was September. Literally I rolled it, I had to get me mum to go and pick me up, got myself back home, ice on the ligaments on my ankle, and literally I hobbled to the shop and was just like, right, and I got like 2 meal deals. No one needs 2 meal deals. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So finally, the final question that in this interview with myself, like what should you, if you want to improve it, what should I do to improve it? I'm talking to you. So the final point, like the biggest and best advice I can give for this is just completely change the idea of discipline that you've got. It isn't about training when you're injured. It isn't about doing more than everyone else. It isn't about looking what other people are doing and copying them because they claim that they're disciplined. It isn't anything like that. It's just sticking to what it is that you say that you're going to do. And I know it sounds harsh, but you're the only person that can do that. There's absolutely nothing that I can do to make you go and do it. You've got free will to just go, well, no. But it's what it actually means. Like, it's sort of changing that perception that you got of the situation, like I said before, to one of, I get to do this because it's going to make me feel better. We'll talk about sort of in the near future. I get to, we'll take one of my clients, for example, who wants to shift a bit of body fat before the summer, before he goes away. So like, it's changing from his mindset of, I need to lose weight to, so that I feel better, to, I get to do this. I get to go and train because it's going to make me feel healthier. It's going to make me have more energy. It's going to help me with my business. It's going to help me when I'm dealing with, so he's got 2 young kids, when I'm dealing with both my young kids when they're acting up and being a bit of a nuisance. I've got the tools in place because I can use this time that I get to go and train as that time to de-stress, that time to get away from what life throws at you. And sort of going about it that way and sort of trying to change your perception of the situation. But again, I'm acutely aware that the things that I'm saying are all very, very relevant to me, and without me understanding who you are as a person, your emotional drivers, like the blind spots that you have, the things that the way that your brain operates, this is like I'm giving you advice as to what I do in my situation. That's probably the best way that I can go about it. But yeah, I find it really interesting, like the whole self-development sort of like conversation and what it actually means, because a lot of it I don't really identify with. I don't agree with I'm not, it's not something that I really connect with, the hyper-masculine sort of thingy, but yeah, like it's interesting. It's really interesting seeing like the way that different people work, and I think that obviously doing the job that I do, the business that I've got, like I communicate with a lot of different people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities and whatever, and seeing the way that they deal with things compared to me is, yeah, it's different. But that's the end of the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna carry on with the couch cast. That's what we call it. That sounds dodgy, doesn't it? With a black leather settee. You know what I'm talking about as well. But yeah, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Catch you in a bit.